Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on DisneyPlus.com. A quick news update for you guys on how President Trump is introducing tariffs to movies. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. So overnight there has been a major bit of news that could have devastating news for films and TV shows around the world, because President Donald Trump has announced that he's going to be implementing a 100% tariff on movies not made in the United States. Details are rather vague at the minute, though President Donald Trump did take to social media on Truth Social to confirm the plan, saying the movie industry in America is dying a real fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the USA are devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of insinuating a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. The president also spoke to reporters about the situation, stating what they've done is other nations have been stealing the movie making capabilities from the United States. I've done some very strong research over the past week and we're making very few movies now. Hollywood is being destroyed. Now you've got a grossly incompetent governor that allows this to happen. So I'm not just blaming other nations, but other nations have stolen our movie industry. If they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, then we should have a tariff on that movie that come in. And not only that, governments are actually giving big money. They're supporting them financially. That's sort of a threat to our countries in a sense. Now, generally, I do try and avoid going into political situations, but sometimes they just come head on. And this is, coming in very head on. Now, obviously, I am British and I am in the UK. So I am outside of the US, and this is going to have an implication around the world, and it's already having ripple effects. Things are moving very quickly. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning here on Monday, and I suspect this situation is going to keep changing, and I suspect I'll be talking about this a lot in the coming weeks ahead. Now, at the minute, we, as I said, don't know too much more. Is it just going to impact on movies? Is it also going to impact on TV shows? Over the last few years, we have seen lots of shows and movies being moved to different countries because like here in the UK, they offer incentives to come here, like low taxes. And, for example, right now they're filming the new Avengers Doomsday movie here. Then they're going to be filming the new Spider-Man film just after that. The new Andor series, that's been filmed here in the UK. Loki was filmed here in the UK. Other Marvel films such as Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings and Thor: Love and Thunder were filmed in Australia. All three of the Avatar films are filmed in New Zealand. The upcoming Disney original movie Zombies 4 has been filmed in New Zealand. Lots of shows as well are made up in Canada. You've got, for example, even like Thunderbolts, which is out now, most of which was filmed in Utah. Some of it was filmed here in London. Some of it was filmed in Malaysia. Movies have become a global entity, and obviously the studios like to get incentives to film. And so we don't know how the tariffs are going to work. Are they just going to be, between the production companies? How is that going to work? Ultimately, if the costs go up, that could reduce the amount of films and shows being made internationally, and it could bring them to the United States. That's what he wants to happen. And obviously those maybe in the US will want that to happen, seeing lots of stuff happening outside. Devastating for international consumers and businesses, etc. But, I can see what he's trying to do. But again, this does feel a little bit like, you have two ways of doing this, carrot and the stick. The carrot is usually the tax incentives. That's the way of getting the company to do it. He's using the stick, well, probably more likely a sledgehammer. But, it's coming in full force. Now, whether or not this is going to have an impact, a lot of films that are already kind of in post-production and production are going to be impacted. Whether or not it changes what Disney does with future movies and other studios. How does this impact on, the streamers? That's a whole thing. Now, again, what's probably more likely going to happen is it's more expensive to film in America. For example, there's a show called The Floor that Fox makes. It's just a general quiz show. They film it in Ireland and fly everybody out from the US to Ireland because it's cheaper to do that than to make it in LA. So that shows you what's been going on. And I can see, the idea of trying to fix it. But again, sledgehammer approach to trying to fix this. And it is a movie. It's a bit like with the auto trade, because you have a movie but it's different parts of it. So some of it might be filmed in different places. You've then got the sound coming in, you've got the music, you've got editing, you've got special effects, all of which are being created in different places by different people. If it just gets edited in the US, is it then just, made in the US? Who knows how all that's going to work? The other thing as well is, as we are seeing right now in the United States, those tariffs that are impacting on products are being passed on to consumers. Prices will go up. We'll probably end up seeing cinema tickets going up because studios are going to pass that cost on to them. You're going to start seeing the price of digital releases going up, both to rent and to buy. Prices of DVDs, etc. All of this is going to come through. And the other big thing, Disney Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus internationally, we're likely going to see the price rise creep in if things start costing more. Studios aren't just going to suck this up. Now, I know the whole idea is they're going to move everything back to the United States. That just isn't feasible. The US is only a small part of the world. The rest of the world exists, and there's going to be issues with that. People want to see stuff from around the world. They don't just want to see everything made in a studio in Atlanta or in Los Angeles. We've also got to include that, in each country, they are going to be trying to protect their local industries. So are we then going to be tariffing and putting fees on movies being imported and shows being imported? This is where things start getting chaotic, and we don't know what's going to happen. And everything could change. By the time Trump wakes up, he could change his mind. And therefore, things could change tomorrow. Everything is just in the air. Expect to see statements coming in. You're probably going to see some of the studio heads trying to contact him to try and get him off of this system. The tariff could be reduced from 100% to 10%. It could go up to 200%. Who knows what's going to happen? It's already been crazy with what's been happening. But this is going to have an impact. For example, a lot of countries are thinking about introducing or already have introducing levies on studios and streaming services. Well, if they start pulling away movies and start charging us for making them, likely going to see levies introduced to protect our local industries, because it's a two-way street. They want to protect their film industry. Other countries want to protect their own. It's not all the case of one thing is going to work. This system that's been in place for decades, basically, America's got too expensive and everyone's been filming stuff outside, like with everything else. And again, it's going to take years for this situation to come in. And of course, studios, etc., aren't going to like this. They're not going to like having the insecurity and the unstabilization of it all. No doubt the stocks are going to be really impacted today when they open up. Yeah, this is a massive change. It's not going to happen overnight. Nothing can, films that have already been made, we don't know how that's going to impact it. But as I said, these prices are going to implement and be shifted around. Now, Hollywood is very good with creative accountancy, with how it works, with setting up different companies and sending stuff around. Generally, up to now, digital products don't have taxes and tariffs, etc. Things have been just left open. This could cause chaos. It could all be blown over. A deal could be made by tomorrow and this entire situation is over with. But there's a lot of noise, it's a lot of uncertainty, and it is going to cause problems. It also could potentially cause major problems for viewers in the United States with Hulu and Disney Plus, because for example, like all the Korean dramas, all the anime, all the British stuff, all the Latin American shows, the Australian shows, suddenly might not get released in the United States because they might have to pay a tariff on it. That could be you might not start getting the international shows and movies. You could also then have the other implication where international shows and movies start slowing down because they can't sell it to the US. Now, generally, like with a big movie, you're going to start seeing a large chunk of the money is made in the US, but more often than not, most of the box office is made internationally. There is problems then you're going to have with audiences outside of the US. We're already seeing boycotts of American products from like Coca-Cola and McDonald's and Starbucks. This is growing as anti-US sentiment is really kicking in. Travel is already being reduced because people don't want to go to the US with the situation. They don't like what's going on and they're voting with their wallets. This could have a massive impact on this year's big movie releases, things like Lilo and Stitch, Thunderbolts right now. There could be a drop in that. We could see all kinds of stuff going on. It is chaos. We don't know what's going to happen, but ultimately there is going to be a cost, and more often than not, we're the ones that are going to have to pay for it. Disney Plus is going to suffer in some ways no matter how this goes, because as I said, prices are going to get passed on to us. There might be less choice coming, either with things not getting released in different countries, and in the long run, less stuff being made. Now, we're already seeing less things being made. It might make some films and shows just too expensive to make, and so they don't make them. They look at it and go, well, we can only film it in the US, but it's too expensive, we're not going to do it. You know, it's going to bring down the budgets on these big movies. This could be a massive thing. It could cause a massive ripple effect, and it could essentially really hammer home into the entertainment business of what's going on. And really, yeah, this is a major problem. The idea that the US just exports all of its content around the world, it's not the 50s, it's not the 60s anymore. That's just not going to work. The audiences are global. We all see what's going on. We're all hearing what's going on. And a lot of this stuff as well could just be lots of distraction and smoke and mirrors to distract from other situations that are going on. Things might have to go through Congress. There's going to be lawsuits. This is going to get messy. This is just the start of it. This is going to be a crazy time. Generally, as I said, I don't like to get into politics kind of things, but sometimes this stuff comes knocking on the doors. We recently saw this in the gaming community with the tariffs impacting on the costs of Xbox and Nintendo stuff. Now we're going to be seeing it in the entertainment business. And yeah, if things are going to impact, things are going to change. We don't yet know how, we don't know when or whatever, but this is going to shake up the entertainment industry in a massive way. And yeah, tariff wars have now impacted on our movies and possibly our shows. So let me know what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. Go check me out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow and subscribe, and I shall see you guys soon. Laters.